Chapter 32, Lawful Behavior. When writing our book, Martial Arts in Your Life, we surveyed martial artists all around the world and asked them a variety of questions, including what attributes they found attractive, valuable, and essential. These practitioners responded with things like ethics, morals, integrity, and clarity. We asked another question, which was, how do you think people describe you? Oftentimes, those same words came up. The way you could interpret those responses would be to say, that's what we expect both for ourselves and from others we associate with. Sure, if we don't see it, it may not be that big a deal. It's kind of the human experience, but we really honor those attributes when we see them. Those are the folks we prefer to hang out with. Why? Because these things are rare in today's world. These are big, and they're important to us. Another question we asked was, have you ever spent a night in jail? No, we didn't ask if respondents had spent more than a night. We didn't ask about prison. Jails in the United States are designed to hold people awaiting trial as well as those who are convicted of lower-level crimes, such as misdemeanors, and sentenced to serve less than 1 year in captivity. Prisons, on the other hand, are primarily used for convicts serving felony sentences, which last more than 1 year. We didn't bother to differentiate, simply asked, have you ever been? That wording helped normalize for martial artists in countries with varying laws across the world too. Why, you might wonder. Why did we add that to our survey? Because we were looking to see if otherwise, law-abiding martial artists would commit acts outside the bounds of lawful behavior given the right incentive. We wanted to know if there were things that they perceived to be worth the risk of arrest, stepped in, put a stop to them, and then waited for the system to sort it out afterward. That's kind of the way it works with real-world self-defense. We think, well, the police are generally all right, I've made a good assessment, I've been trained, and I did the right thing. Law enforcement, on the other hand, is thinking, I'm trained, I'm empowered to act on behalf of the community, and I need to assure public safety. I need to separate this violent individual from everyone else, at least until the judge determines otherwise. We get it, those are the rules of the game. Cross the line, even when fully justified, and we're likely to spend a night or more in jail. Let's face it, you can be arrested for a lot of things that you didn't do and things that you did do. And boy, that's a 360-degree sphere of all over the place. When we asked that question and we got the response, yes, well, we just scooted right back through the survey to find out if those words of like morality, clarity, and the like were in fact a part of how martial artists identify themselves, and also if they truly valued those things. You know what? There is no difference. Whether you spent time in jail or not, you still hold these things to be valuable. Morality, ethics, codes of behavior, loyalty, those kinds of things. Well, what does that dichotomy say? Our interpretation is that the people who have spent time in jail have stepped outside the bounds, clearly, of what would be considered lawful behavior. But they've returned back to lawful behavior afterward. They're not criminals, they're generally law-abiding citizens who found a reason to cross the boundary. In other words, these folks who know more about self-defense and violence in society than the average are able and willing to violate a law, or several, that they have determined does not suit their code of ethics and morals. And once that's rectified or settled in some manner, they return back to lawful behavior. Whether that's a conscious anomaly or a subconscious anomaly, we can't really say. The survey didn't go that deep with follow-on probing, so we don't know if somebody made a stupid mistake or conscious choice. Regardless of why, there is always a return back to the lawful behavior within this subgroup because, well, they wouldn't be joining in on this survey if they were still locked up. Plus, martial artists as a whole tend to be pretty law-abiding. Our takeaway? Sometimes it is time to step over the bounds of behavior that is considered lawful, enter the realm of unlawfulness, and then once the task is completed, return. That's one way to read it anyway. We think it requires further study, but it sure looks interesting from this standpoint. What do you think? Takeaways. Martial artists value ethics, morality, and integrity. These values persist among martial artists, regardless of whether they have spent time in jail. Martial artists who have violated the law do so for a reason and tend to return to lawful behavior afterward. Quotes, ethics should be an integral part of the theory and philosophical study of any martial art, setting the moral guidelines for all practitioners of that art, from the beginning students to the grandmaster. Michael Muleta. One has not only a legal, but a moral responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Martin Luther King, Jr. Behavior is the mirror in which everyone shows their true image. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe.